getting yourselves nice and comfortable in your yoga nidra nest, supporting your head on the pillow, cushion, maybe something under the knees, almost definitely a blanket. It'd be crazy not to have a blanket this time of year. And then let's start, as we often do, by taking a few deeper breaths. So let's take a nice deep inhale through the nose. And a slow, steady, releasing exhale. And again, notice the flaring of the nostrils, the expansion of the airways in your throat, rib cage, lungs, belly rising. Allowing the exhale to help you settle. Noticing that gradual increase of weight, and the gentle caress of gravity, drawing you down with every exhale. Drawing up from the crown of your head so you find length through the neck, the space at the base of the skull, maybe letting the awareness just rest in that suboccipital area at the base of the skull. And just notice the sensations there as you allow the space to expand as you inhale. Letting that sense of spaciousness drift through the neck as you allow the shoulders to be heavy. Noticing the shoulder blades, the curvature of your spine. And the weight of your pelvis. Sinking down as you exhale. And the weight of your legs. Sensations in the soles of your feet. And the tips of your toes. And finding the inhale now in the front of your body. Receptive, open presence as you inhale. Maybe a slight stretch of the skin. Welcoming the touch of air on your skin. a sense of floating, of weightlessness in the front of the body. And then in the back of the body, the weight, the exhale, drawing down, sinking, the earth connection. Every cell in your body, trillions of cells, receiving the inhale, expanding, stretching, filling with your inhale. And then every cell in your body softening. Releasing, letting go, letting go. Awareness to the right ear. Notice the sensations on the earlobe. The folds of skin on your outer ear. Noticing what it all feels like. The quality of presence. And then drawing the attention inside the ear. And starting to really pay attention to sound. Letting the sounds drift to the right ear. Listening with your right ear. Noticing how the sounds drift over you. Drift through you. Notice how they rise and fall. Receptive to the vibrations of sound in your right ear. Awareness to the left earlobe, shape, size, sensations. And the folds of skin on your outer ear. And then working your way in. Feeling inside your left ear. Listening now with your left ear. Noticing how the sounds rise and fall. How they drift through you. Third eye. Heart center. Feeling the breath in your heart center. Expanding and returning. Finding the quality of presence in the heart center. And seeing if anything resonates in your heart center today. So it's time to make a sankalpa, a positive statement of intent, a wish for yourself. Seeing if anything arises. Maybe I am calm. I am resting deeply, nurturing myself. I am being kind to myself. Choosing something that feels right for you today and repeat it to yourself 3 times. There is a knowing that is going on moment to moment, a noticing. And there's an openness, a spaciousness, an awareness. And then there is a tenderness, an innate warmth, tenderness with which to meet that which arises. This is about inhabiting the aliveness that is right here. Bringing to your mind's eye the image of a sky, a vast blue sky stretching endlessly out before you. Fill your sky with a smile. And breathe with that image for a moment. The image of a sky, endless blue sky filled with a smile. Find the spaciousness and find the sense of well-being, tenderness that comes with a smile. And we will draw that image of a sky filled with a smile and draw it down into our mind so that our minds are filled with the spaciousness of the sky and that felt sense of a smile, that sense of well-being. Sit for a moment with your sky mind. Find the space. Taking your awareness to your right eye. Finding the sensations. And letting the right eye soften. Awareness to the left eye. Feel and soften. Can you imagine the space in between your eyes? Can you imagine, can you feel the space inside your right nostril? Can you imagine the space inside your left nostril? And then the space inside both nostrils. Can you imagine, can you feel the space inside your tongue? The aliveness of your tongue, the volume of your tongue. Feeling the tongue from the inside. What does it feel like? Imagining the space in between your teeth. Picturing the shape, the size, the volume of your lips. Can you imagine the space inside your lips? What does it feel like? Can you imagine, can you feel the space now inside the whole mouth? The spaces between the teeth, inside the tongue, inside the gums, the whole mouth, the space inside your whole mouth. Can you imagine, can you feel the space inside your neck? What sensations do you find inside your neck? The dance of tiny particles dissolving, reappearing. Awareness to the right shoulder and the left shoulder. Can you imagine the space in between your shoulders? Bringing your awareness inside your shoulders. Feeling the space inside your shoulders. Shimmering. The space that fills the shoulders. Can you imagine the volume, the length of your arms? Feeling inside your arms, the space inside your arms. Can you imagine the space that fills your thumbs? Sensations inside your thumbs. Can you imagine the space that fills your index fingers? The shape of them, the size of them, and then inside them. What does it feel like? Can you imagine the space between your thumbs and your index fingers? Letting the awareness fill the middle fingers now. The shape, the volume. And then awareness inside those middle fingers. Feeling inside. Finding the space between the index fingers and the middle fingers. the ring fingers, shape, size, volume, sensations inside, the aliveness. Can you imagine the space between your middle fingers and your ring fingers? Little fingers, shape, size, volume. Awareness inside the little fingers, feeling them from the inside out. And then noticing the space between the ring fingers and the little fingers. The palms of your hands. Rest your attention on the palms of your hands. The aliveness, tingling, pulsing. And the backs of your hands. Exploring the sensations on the backs of your hands. And then find the space in between the palms and the backs of your hands. The space inside your hands. Can you imagine and feel the space between the sides of your chest? The distance between the right side of the chest and the left side of the chest. The space inside. Can you imagine the space between the front of your chest and the back? Space inside, shimmering, dancing particles, aliveness. Can you imagine the space inside your heart? The space that fills your heart, the interior space. Can you imagine the space between the right side waist and the left side waist? The space in the abdominal cavity, the space in the pelvic bowl, dancing particles, spacious awareness. And noticing and knowing. tenderness. Finding the space inside the right hip socket. In the left hip socket. The space inside your legs, the knees, lower legs, the space inside the ankles, dancing particles. Soles of your feet, what do they feel like? And the tops of your feet. Can you imagine the space between the soles of your feet and the tops of your feet? Find the space inside your big toes and second toe, and the space in between the big toes and the second toes. And finding the space inside your third toe. And the space in between. Fourth. And the space in between. Fifth. And the space in between. All 10 toes. The space inside all 10 toes and between all your toes. And inside the feet. Can you imagine now the space inside the whole of your body, from the crown of your head to the tips of the toes, the whole body filled with a spacious awareness, sensations, vibrations, tingling, pulsing. Trillions of cells shimmering. Finding the space that fills your entire body. The interior space that all this aliveness arises from and dissolves into. Can you imagine the space in front of you. Outward and outward, reaching beyond the furthest stars. And can you imagine the space behind you, stretching back and back, beyond the furthest stars? Can you imagine the space to the right of you, stretching out beyond the furthest stars? And the space to the left of you, stretching out and out beyond the furthest stars. And could you imagine the space above you, stretching out to beyond the furthest stars? And can you imagine the space beneath you, stretching out to beyond the furthest stars? Imagining this continuous space, stretching out in all directions. Imagine and sense that everything you experience is floating in this continuous space. And imagine that this continuous space is infused with the light of awareness. So there's a knowing, a noticing, and there is an awareness. And then there is a tenderness with which we meet this. Imagining that all this internal space and all this external space is just one continuous, universal space. Can you imagine that all this internal space and all this external space is just one continuous, universal space? experience this spaciousness, this awareness, experiencing at the heart center, finding the tenderness at the heart center, and allowing that to lead your experience of all this internal and external space. Meeting this universal spaciousness with the tenderness of an open heart. This vast, tender heart space. Let yourself rest at the heart center. And welcoming your sankalpa to return. Calling in those words of wisdom that resonate with you today. And repeating them to yourself 3 times. And letting them reside in your heart center. Returning your awareness to the movement of your breath. Notice the flaring of the nostrils, the expanding of the rib cage, the torso. And let's end how we started, with a nice deep inhale. And a slow, steady, releasing exhale. And then whenever you're ready, if you want to, of course, you can stay where you are. If you want to bring a little bit of movement back in whatever way that looks, that might be moving the head from side to side, maybe hands and feet, having a little zhuzhi flash. Bringing the knees in for a rockety-roo. And then if you want to come up and meet me in sitting.